back, people, and today we're breaking down film on the Miami Dolphins defense versus the Patriots week 2. Looking at the defense again, another very, very tough week for them. It's very weird. You're going to see, I think, what the main issue is with this team. I actually do think it is pretty fixable. Like, the Dolphins aren't just giving up a ton of, like, huge plays over and over and over again. It's a lot of scoring drives, but they're very long drives, and I think it's a combo of things, but to me, it's a marriage of what they're doing on the back end with the fronts up, like, with the pressures that they're bringing, specifically in coverage. Because versus the run, they haven't been anything special, but I also don't think that's been, like, a main reason they've been struggling. Certain times the runs put the offenses in advantageous positions, but I think it's a combo of what they're doing, and I don't think it's, like, a specific positional weakness. I mean, I think some players are getting exposed. Like Tyrell Dotson has been definitely one of the weaknesses of the defense. Like, he's got to get out of there. I think Melifonwu has been pretty rough. And then I think some of the guys that are talented and typically play better, I think they'll play better in different scenarios, different situations. I think that's been more of a problem with, like, the spots Weaver's put him in. I haven't liked, like, Chop Robinson's usage, him playing like less than 50% of the snaps, and while he's out there, I mean, they're dropping Jalen Phillips into coverage far too often. And we'll go through this and see some of what I think is the main issue. But the Dolphins are getting, like, to me, they're getting to third down a lot. They're getting to fourth down a lot too. It's just they're converting every time. It's always a manageable situation. And I think the Dolphins, what they're doing on the back end, they're not, like, squeezing. They're playing, like, this is what I'm saying. So on the back end, they're playing passive with their calls. Like, a lot of their coverage calls are passive. And then up front, though, they're playing aggressive. So they're bringing a lot of pressure, trying to get quick pressure, but they're not mirroring that to the back end and trying to, play those things together. So I would think playing more aggressive defense in the back end, which they started to do more in the second half. They started taking away quick windows more so in the second half. And then the Dolphins defense at least found some more success. They weren't just giving up a score every drive. They were able to actually get at least a stop or, able to slow them down. They got a little bit lucky too. Sometimes luck does play a part of it. They haven't gotten much luck, but they did get lucky in one drive. There also was a couple dumb penalties that I don't think should have been penalties that got called for them. But I think, the front's got to be better. I think if the back end is given more, they also just got, like, there were so many screens that got called into blitzes. It was like every time Weaver called a blitz, they had the perfect screen to counter it. Has not been very smooth from Weaver. But you'll kind of see what I'm talking about of, like, the things I think they started doing well more so in the second half that I think they can carry from, but it has been really, really bad. Like, the defense has been really bad through the first 2 weeks. So starting off rip here, like, first drive, looks like you might get a potential decent, situation. Bradley Chubb, kind of the unblocked left defender here. They're motioning this tight end across, and they do get a little bit unlucky here because Chubb, when he's in the situation, he recognizes he's reading the mesh point. He identifies this tight end working across, so he takes him on at the point of attack. He's ready to hit this. But the fact the running back and the tight end run into each other actually helps out the Patriots offense. He runs into this, and now the running back's able to, Stevenson's able to get out of there and pick up a nice quality gain for a first down. And it was just like plays like that, could have put the Dolphins in a decent spot, didn't help. And then when the Dolphins actually got sacks, it was like all of them came on 1st and 10, and it was when they, the edge beat a tight end. Like, they're not getting good pressures in good situations. Like, yeah, we'll take a sack here, but they were able to still convert it after the fact. So, like, they get that sack there. Good job by Chubb responding on the next play, getting this sack after that, maybe miscue on the run. Good job using his hands. He's a very good hand user, combining his feet with his hands. You want to see more consistency out of these guys as pass rushers, but I just don't think they've been put in great spots. It's just a combination. I don't know. I don't think there's one specific group to blame on defense. I really don't. Like, I know people either point at the, maybe defensive front because they're supposed to be the carriers. I do think they need to play a lot better, but I think there's certain things that have held them back, just like out of their control. And I know people look at the secondary because of the lack of talent, but I don't think they've been the main issue either. There's been specific players, maybe like a Dodson. Like, Dodson's been getting targeted like crazy. And then you get to play like this. So now it's 2nd and like 13. You bring 4 up front. You come out on the field with Phillips, Chop, and Chubb, and Sealer. So your 4 best pass rushers. What do you do on 2nd and 13? You drop back and you take away these windows. Look how much depth the linebackers are gaining. And the fact that they can't get an instant quick pressure here, May is just going to check this down. And also look what they're doing. They have two running backs in the backfield and they chip chop. So they double chop, they double chub, and then they slide to Phillips. So Phillips has less room to work with. So basically, if Sealer's not able to get an instant pressure, which aligned as a 2-eye, it is a tough alignment. So the Patriots just have exactly what they need to stop that initially. And then May has a very clean pocket. Just take the check down, and they get now to a third and manageable. And that was just it's been a constant problem. And they haven't been able to get off the field on these third down spots because, they drop Phillips into coverage here. They try to get a set up like a little bit of a pick play. Like Diggs is trying to, lull these people to sleep, and then he just turns around, gets a nice pitch and catch. Phillips not going to take away the initial window. You probably want him to squeeze this or Melifonwu to fly downhill a little bit, and it just gives an easy pitch and catch to convert in those spots, and then they're able to respond, play action, and they run the tight end to leak to the opposite side of the field. Dolphins have everything else pretty much covered up, but they get the flow going this way. Dotson kind of tries to communicate for that, and he should be like this hook defender, needs to at least carry this long enough that they're able to hit the leak down the sideline to Hooper, get a nice big play there. The Dolphins defense definitely came out slow, giving way too much space to work with. And then now they get into the red zone and play action again. I mean, Jack Jones takes himself out of spot. So Dolphins are running cover 2 in this situation down in the red zone. Jack Jones flies downhill. He can't do this. He flies down as the corner. You can't be able to come downhill just like that, because now that there's no depth there, Hollins has the leverage advantage. Melifonwu moves late to get out there because he's supposed to be, they're down in the condensed area, so it's not quite the same. But he's got to be able to play. He can't get leverage to the outside here. Jack Jones has to gain more depth so he can kind of take away. The fact that he's underneath 81 here is not good. Like, he needs to be like out here so he can come down to play 81, but also take away the initial throw to 13. So if it is going to be thrown over top, it gives Melifonwu enough time to get over there and make a play. Marshall, it probably looks like Marshall's responsible for this, but as the hook defender, like, he's not supposed to be out there making a stop in the corner of the end zone. So you get a nice, easy pitch and catch, just miscommunication players, not making plays in the moment. And then, like here's the example, Dolphins work an aggressive game up front. They get, Sealer being the crash guy. You get Chubb looping around. Patriots do a great job of picking it up. I have to give credit to the Patriots line. They did a great job picking it up. But still, it's just attacking the middle of the field. So many times they just attack this shallow part of the middle of the field, and they gave so much room. This time it's Minka and Dotson in between them, between the two hooks. Dolphins out there running cover 3, and it's just an easy pitch and catch to, make it a very manageable situation on the next play. And then they get so now they're like in 3rd and 4 or 3rd and 5 instead of, maybe you to stop and make it 3rd and 10. And then they hit the rail route. And if you watch Henderson out of the backfield, Tyrell Dotson is basically man-to-man on him, and he just gets picked out of the play. So this is actually a legal pick because you can do it at the line of scrimmage like this. Dotson gets picked at the line. He just runs straight into the defender. I don't know why he's trying to play it like this. He takes a horrible angle for where this running back is going. He should feel this and try to work around it to take away the initial thing, and then he just runs into that easy pitch and catch. They just can continuously converting third down. Like, their rate conversion on 3rd and 4th downs is just insane. Literally, if you just bring that down a little bit, it just complains. It will change the complete outlook for the defense, and it's just actually insane at the players that are getting targeted out there. And I'm sure eventually, you'll start to see Chop, Phillips, Chubb gain, get this thing going. But man, they bring the pressure here, and they actually do what I wanted. So they bring a pressure look. This is another 3rd and medium, constant 3rd and mediums. This time it's like 3rd and 6. And they actually do what I would want them to do, which is actually take away some quick throws. So, like, yes, they drop Chubb into coverage, but he actually does a good job squeezing. So he's going to drop, they're playing zone, but squeeze the initial threat to your zone. So you take away that first throw from May. He tries to go to his read on the other side. These throws are taken away. They're not just giving up passes to the sticks. I think that's Douglas trying to take away Diggs potentially, at least make the throws hard. At least make the offense have to earn it. Like, if they do make a big play against you, that's fine. They earned it. You at least contested them. And at least the Dolphins up front worked something here. They brought a blitz. They tried to work a stunt with Sealer and Phillips. And even though the Patriots pick it up really well and May's able to escape, they at least had to earn it, and it wasn't easy. And like, yes, this play is going to happen, but man, I need to see them at least take away those initial options like this. This was another big play. This was a third down that turned into a touchdown that easily could have been stopped and held to a field goal. It was just the Patriots made a great play in the moment. They actually go out there, they play man to man pretty much, take away these options. They double Diggs, basically bracket him, and they just throw up the fade ball to Keyshawn Butte. And May is just like, hey, I'm gonna throw it up there, and the receiver makes a great catch. He basically one hands it over Jack Jones to hang on to it. But I would rather give up touchdowns like that where you're contesting it, you're making it tough, because this type of play in other scenarios, it's not going to get completed every time. Yeah, sometimes it will get completed, but it's way less likely to get completed than that first touchdown they gave up where they're just making, bonehead plays, trying to play these zone coverages, playing super soft. At least force the quarterback to make has to make a really good throw, force the receiver to have to make a really good catch. I'd rather give up touchdowns like this because that type of play would be a field goal attempt in plenty of other situations. So hopefully they start to play a little more aggressive. Here's Tyrell Dodson getting exposed again. Dolphins up front. They stack the box. So do the Patriots. Patriots got, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 blockers up here. So the Dolphins come down, match it with. They actually end up having 9, including the corner. I mean, he's kind of out of it. He's more of a force defender out here. And they actually do a decent job up front. It just ends up falling apart. So Sealer is slanting to the inside. So Sealer is slanting across to get into that A gap. They're pulling across here. Judon's the only one who kind of really loses his rep. Like Sealer and Phillips are holding their own point of attack. Judon gets washed out of the play on the double team. Trader actually does a really good job coming downhill from playing as in the box like this to take on the O lineman. He actually does a really good job not really losing ground there. So it leaves Dodson one-on-one in space to at least limit this to a potential 2 to 3 yard gain. Would be huge. But no, he makes Dodson miss, and he ends up picking, up 21 yards on the play, something like that. And that was definitely one of the more explosive runs the Patriots have. They didn't have a ton of explosive runs, but that was one that definitely showed the problem, I think, sometimes with Dodson. And then they respond with another 1st and 10 sack. They kind of get a little bit lucky here off the play action with what's going on. Like the fullback tries to freeze Chop, and then the running back has to block Chop. Chop does a great job avoiding that, getting around. I want to see Chop get some actual usage. This is what my problem is. It's like, yes, the edge group needs to create more pressure, but with the opportunities they are given, they are rare. They have way less opportunities, I feel like, this year than they did last year. Like with true one-on-one pass rush and first true pass sets, I feel like the Dolphins just aren't getting those situations, and that's why the edges aren't be able to create any sort of consistent pressure. And also with the rotation, the way they're being used, not staying ahead of the sticks, it's been hurt. So when they do finally get those opportunities, you might get some plays like this, because now after that, you get the sack. The Dolphins also got a penalty on the next play. So this is 2nd and 25. Dolphins might finally get a stop, not hold them to a score. And then what they do, they come out here. They actually do to get nice pressure. Good job from Phillips up the middle. Sealer working the loop. This is what you want. Dolphins on the back end, and this is sometimes the problem when you do try to, get aggressive, is that they called this right here on Marshall illegal contact. And yes, he's contacting him, but this is not he's not forcibly contacting him. And that's when they would call it legal contact, is him forcibly contacting, slowing down his momentum. He's just got hands on. I think they also throw a flag for this. They didn't call it on the field, so I don't know if that actually counted. I only think they called one, and they might have called that holding, but I think if it was holding, they would have called. I mean, I guess it doesn't matter either way. But that one kind of is on the receiver. Either way, you can't have this on 2nd and 25. I think the call on Marshall is super, super weak that they end up calling. And then this would have been a 3rd and 25 situation. That's when you can, let the catch happen underneath. And then this perfect play call to be what the Dolphins have. I like the idea of blitzing Trader. Look at Trader's closing speed here. He actually gets to the quarterback so fast. It takes a great angle, but it's just a perfect concept to beat the blitz. You get Henderson out in space, and then look at Dodson. Try to take the wide angle to avoid the offensive lineman, and he gets too wide and now misses the open field tackle on Henderson. He gets a nice another chunk gain. Just feels like there's nothing that could work. Feel like the turnaround can't be that crazy. It's just call a better play in a certain situation, or don't have the perfect play called against you in a perfect situation. One of those catches they don't come down with that could very easily be kind of stopped. And then just play more aggressive, make them earn it. And I think the Dolphins defense would at least have I mean, they would have to have more success because it's been about as bad as it can be in week 1. And down in the red zone, what do? I like the look. I like how they set this up. I mean, they show like a potential like could be a couple different looks actually with maybe like a two man, maybe like a quarters. You basically are one on one down to the boundary. Great job by Douglas. This is what I like to see. It's a very basic defensive look. Looks like it's probably gonna be man to man, but Dotson is playing it like it's man. Gets a hand on, and now he's looking for help. These people are matched up. Dotson knows he has help on the back end. He can pass that off. Take away Stevenson. Everything is just taken away very quickly, except for maybe the Stevenson route. But even that's not like a freebie. I mean, May's already now going away from that. That's like his, potential check down. He tries to scramble. They pass everything off really nicely. They take away the potential throws that he would be looking at. Nothing he wants to. So he has to escape the pocket, scramble, make these things tough. And if you're able to at least do that, it will give you more and more opportunities just to get after the quarterback. And that was just one of those spots where you're actually able to slow him down. And then the next play, you actually get a Kenneth Grant impact here where he gets the knockdown trying to throw the ball to Hunter Henry. Hunter Henry's matched up on Dante Trader. Man to man. Might have been a touchdown if Grant doesn't get the tip. There's a potential chance for a touchdown. I mean, it would have to be a really, probably perfect throw, low and away. Trader's in a spot to make a play if it is, more in the chest area. But they get that stop there, hold them to a field goal. But it's just, they should never even got down the field with, the dumb penalty. It's just, the defense has been very tough to watch, but I don't even feel like it's that far. It's like some individual players are definitely playing really, really bad, and they got to get rotated out because they are getting attacked. I want to see Willie Gay out there. But like some of the edge rushers, some of the secondary guys, I don't even think are playing bad individually necessarily. They're just not put in a spot where I think they can show off their full skill set or where they show off how talented they actually are. We'll see if we ever actually get that. And here's one time where they get to the second half, they bring some pressure, they get a third down. You get Jordan Brooks. Jordan Brooks was terrorizing Travion Henderson. He draws the hold there. He gets one-on-one with the linebacker. Dolphins bring the pressure. I mean, this is where you get to show this off. So they basically have 3 on each side with the linebacker standing in the middle. They slide to the right, have the running back work over here. They have double running back in the backfield, but this basically isolates Jordan Brooks with Travion, and he just takes full advantage. And if you look at the defenders, they're not instantly giving up a freebie. They're playing at the line, and all the routes are not instant access either, just with what they're running, and they're able to get a stop there. So that was nice to see. And then here's another opportunity where it could have easily been another stop. This is one of the plays of the game. Great play by Drake May, and this is just sometimes it's a game of inches. This is a game of inches. So that's why so many things can change week to week. We see the Achane touchdown where he stepped out of bounds. This is one where Phillips wins around the edge, does a great job ripping underneath, and he's just a little too wide. May does a great job stepping up in the pocket, and unfortunately, Grant's getting double teamed. Sealer's just a little too far away from him. He's able to reset, and he gets Jordan Brooks on the wheel. Kind of sets his feet. I do like that they were playing a bit aggressive, and I think this is what you got to do to be able to take away third down stuff. They're not giving up anything easy access. And the Patriots just took advantage of it in this situation, but I think this is something the Dolphins got to do all game because I'd rather lose to that than what they were doing in the first half. And then they get this. They get another pretty good look. Judon's just not able to chase down Drake May, and then Chop loses his balance to contain this side. He comes off the ball and just loses the balance as soon as he gets contained, and he's not able to get to the outside there. Maybe a potential for I mean, I wouldn't say it's a hold. I think Chop's just going on the ground. And then May just gets into the end zone. There was also defensive holding on Tyrell Dotson that they called. Then you get this, just Willie Gay making a play. Willie Gay impact, he gets on the field, makes a couple plays. I actually think Willie Gay was supposed to, they're communicating. I think Willie Gay was supposed to blitz on this play. He runs up the field, and he just identifies and adjusts and sees what's going on here and makes a good heads-up play and gets in the backfield. And I feel like, there will still be some rough plays with Willie Gay's out there, but with his level of athleticism and speed, he'll be at least able to make a little bit more impact on plays like that would turn into negatives. Dolphins also got lucky for it didn't matter because it ended up turning into the screen. And this is the last play I'm showing. They get lucky later on in this. I think it's this drive, or it might be the next one. No, I think it's this drive because the Dolphins get lucky because the Patriots have a bad snap that kills their drive. But this type of stuff's unacceptable. It's a 3rd and long. Why are we bringing everybody? We bring 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The D tackles drop, and they're dropping away from the screen, and there's just so much space for Stevenson to work with here, and it gives him this opportunity, and Trader misses the tackle, and, like, when you have that much space to work with on a screen, no one slows him down initially, and he's able to get there and pick up a first down on 3rd and long. It's just I don't really understand the play call. I mean, Weaver has definitely shown some regression so far. I mean, I think he could still potentially turn it around, but it's gonna be too late with how the season has started. Ooh, and from an individual player's perspective, I think a lot of these guys can and will play better, especially some the younger guys. I'm not too stressed about them as of yet. I mean, it's only 2 games this season. People will freak out about rookies, having struggles, and there's some cause for concern, but people are already like calling them busts and stuff. That's ludicrous. But even like the reason I'm not too stressed about it is because even some of your best players, like Sealer, is playing bad, and I think it's just more situationally rather than Sealer's just bad now. Same with like Chubb, Phillips, Chop. Like they're not making super impactful plays. I think it's just a situation that they are put in, and it's a combination of also talent around them, but scheme, system, and then you know just how you're running things on the front end and the back end. I feel like it needs to be run a little more mirrored. So we'll see if they make those adjustments. I mean, it's gonna be rough Thursday night against the Bills. That's for sure. Unless the defense shows up, which I don't really. I mean, the Bills is a tough matchup. I wouldn't be surprised if the offense has a pretty good day because offense, looked pretty decent this game. Last year, when again the second game versus the Bills, the offense played decent. I mean, I'm not expecting like a great game from the offense, but um, it's probably gonna be rough all around. But yeah, if you guys have any information, like, come subscribe.